SportsFigures, put your brain in the game.
Hey, check this out.
Oh, hey! In physics, that's called a collision. And in billiards, it's all about collisions. And if you want to understand collisions, you got to understand one thing: momentum. You can't play billiards without it. Hey, take it easy.
To help us out with billiards and physics, we got Allison Fisher. She holds 36 WPBA Tour titles and 6 WPBA National Championships and U.S. Open titles. Now that's momentum.
Okay, so Allison, for someone playing at your level, it's not just about sinking the balls in, right?
Well, actually, sinking balls is what it's all about. But in order to do that, you have to position the ball for the next shot and the shot after that. So to a professional, we think 3 shots ahead.
Ah, okay, so you are thinking about what both the cue ball and the object ball are going to do after the collision.
That's right.
Okay. All right, let's take the most basic collision.
Okay.
Now, see, how do you do that? Every time I try to make that shot, the cue ball goes right on into the pocket.
That's probably because you have forward roll on the cue ball. And what you have to do is have the cue ball slide into the object ball at the moment of impact. So I'm going to demonstrate on a short distance shot. You can stop the ball dead. In other words, have the cue ball slide into the object ball by hitting the centre ball.
Yeah.
Now that only happens when the 2 balls collide head on, a stop shot.
Okay.
Now, on a long distance shot, in order to stop the ball dead, I need the cue ball to have some backward rotation on it, and by the time it hits the object ball, it needs to slide into the object ball in order to stop it. You see, at the moment of impact, it becomes a sliding ball.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, thanks.
Physics tells us why the cue ball stops. The cue ball has momentum in this direction, so it applies a force to the 4 ball in this direction. But thanks to Newton's third law, we know that the 4 ball applies an equal and opposite force on the cue ball. So the momentums of the balls are changing because of the forces. The cue ball loses momentum, the 4 ball gains momentum. In fact, the cue ball loses all of its momentum, and that's exactly how much momentum the 4 ball gains. And you don't scratch.
See these arrows? Well, they're not called arrows.
They're called vectors. And vectors are what we use to solve problems involving acceleration, velocity, and momentum. For more on vectors, let's go to Mitch Lawrence at the SportsFigures blackboard.
A billiard ball has a mass of 170 grams. That's called a scalar quantity. But if we want to measure the momentum of a billiard ball, that's a whole different ballgame. Because some quantities involve movement, like momentum and velocity, we have to look at both magnitude and direction. The ball has magnitude, like how much velocity, but it also has direction, which way the ball is going. Anytime you have magnitude and direction, that's called a vector quantity. That's why the arrows we use are called vectors. They represent how much and which way. Problems involving billiards are problems involving vectors. I'm Mitch Lawrence at the SportsFigures blackboard.
Woo! Magnitude and direction. So let's see how we can use vectors to solve a momentum problem. Like before, when we had a perfectly head-on collision, what happened?
The cue ball stopped dead.
But what about when this happens?
The momentum before the collision still equals the momentum after.
But the cue ball didn't stop.
Well, it wasn't a head-on shot, so not all of the cue ball's momentum was transferred.
But that's obvious, because both the balls were moving after the collision.
Right. But the cue ball's not moving as fast.
It transferred some, but not all of the momentum.
Well, using vectors, we can solve all sorts of things about this collision, including how much of the cue ball's momentum was transferred and how much it kept for itself. So, where do we start?
Well, we could figure out the cue ball's momentum before the collision.
Okay, Deanna. So how do we figure out something like momentum? Well, it's really simple. The formula for momentum looks like this. P stands for momentum, go figure. And P equals mass, M, times velocity, V. So let's say I'm traveling like 25 meters per second. That's almost 60 miles per hour. And the mass of this vehicle is 1,000 kilograms. And I'm traveling northeast. That makes my momentum 25,000 kilograms meters per second northeast. See, there's no special new unit of measurement for momentum, so we end up using kilograms meters per second. Now I know the car's magnitude, kilograms meters per second, and its direction, northeast. So I can make a vector to represent it. In order to work with vectors, you need to draw your arrows to scale on a graph. Now, billiard balls travel in meters per second, and they have a mass of 170 grams. But every single ball on the table has the same mass, so we can make things easier by just using 1 gram as our mass. So we need to create a graph with units of measurement in 1 gram meters per second. So each square on our graph is 1 gram meters per second. The other thing we need with vectors is direction. So let's label our graph table north, east, south, and west. Now we have our graph, magnitude and direction.
Okay, good game.
Listen, I want to ask you something. Do billiards players have to work out? Because you got a really firm handshake.
Well, thank you. Yes, you do. I think it's very important to stay physically fit at the game because you need to be very mentally alert for pool. And I go to a gym, I do work out, and you know, it's a very flexible game. I think yoga and things like that would help out too.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I noticed like my back hurts a little bit from like bending over a lot.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised at how many miles you walk around the table when you play pool.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Let's say we're going to break. Let's say the ball went 3 meters per second. What we want to do is draw a scale arrow, a vector, that represents the cue ball's momentum. P equals 1 gram times 3 meters per second is an arrow pointing north with a length of 3 units or 3 gram meters per second. For our graphing problem, the size of this vector now represents the momentum of the shot I just took. Once you got your graph set up, it's super easy to start plotting in vectors for more than one ball. And that brings us to collisions.
Okay, Allison, what other info can you give us about collisions on a billiard table?
Well, when the two balls collide, as long as they don't hit head-on, the cue ball will come off of the object ball at a 90-degree angle.
Wait a minute. No way, no matter how the ball's hit?
Oh, absolutely. It comes up all the time in 9-ball, and here's an example. You can see that if I make the 9-ball in the pocket, the cue ball would follow a 90-degree angle and scratch into the corner.
So how do you not scratch?
There's a few ways of avoiding a scratch. One would be to put high ball on the cue ball, so when it contacts the object ball, it will come off at a 90-degree angle but then fall forward of the tangent line.
Can you also use how hard you hit the ball? The ball's momentum?
Absolutely. If I hit this ball softer, took some speed off with a centre ball, it's not going to be sliding at the moment of impact. It will follow the tangent line but then will fall forward of the tangent line.
Yes, it does.
See, I don't lie.
Oh, and here's something cool. If we added up the momentum of the two balls after the collision, it would equal the same initial momentum of the cue ball. And we know that because of the law of conservation of momentum. It says that the momentum after a collision equals the momentum before a collision.
And we can prove that by adding up the vectors.
Yeah. To start adding up vectors, let's go to SportsFigures co-host, Greg Abbey.
Thanks, Marissa. Right now I'm moving, so I have momentum. Let's say I have 30 units of momentum. If I collide with a shopping cart, the cart starts moving, but the total momentum hasn't changed. There's now 30 units of momentum between us. Momentum equals mass times velocity, so my momentum vector before and after the collision looks like this. Because I stay attached to the shopping cart, we're going slower, so our velocity is less, but our mass is greater, so momentum is conserved. It'd be more like billiards if I did this. You see, I just transferred some of my momentum to the cart. My momentum was 30 before the collision. After the collision, my momentum was 20, and the shopping cart's momentum was 10. We end up with two vectors in the same direction that show our momentum. Well, we can add those two vectors to show that our total momentum is still 30. So adding vectors that go off in the same direction is simple. But for billiard balls that go off in different directions, it's a little more complicated. Let's go back to Marissa.
Okay, so how do we add vectors like these?
To add them, first you have to draw the vectors on a graph.
Okay, so how do we do that?
We have to multiply mass times velocity for the balls before the collision.
And after the collision. Then you draw scaled arrows for the momenta.
Momenta?
That's plural for momentum. One ball has momentum. Two balls have momenta.
Okay, so then we just need to find the mass.
Well, we already decided that the mass of the billiard balls is all the same, so we could just say 1 gram for mass.
Right, so we just have to figure out the velocity. Let's say I give the cue ball a velocity of 1 meter per second. Our direction is still north, so that gives us a vector that looks like this. That total momentum will be distributed by the two balls after the collision, and we can prove it by adding their vectors. So now we need to figure out the velocity of the balls after the collision. We need to find out how many meters per second each of the balls is traveling. We can do that using video frames. Video records at 30 frames per second, so we can count the number of video frames and figure out our velocity. Let's look at the 5-ball first. We see that in 30 frames, the ball travels 0.6 meters. 30 frames is 1 second. So we get a velocity of 0.6 meters per second, 53 degrees west of north. The mass we're calling 1 gram. So 1 gram times 0.6 meters per second gives a momentum of 0.6 gram meters per second, 53 degrees west of north. The momentum vector looks like this. Okay, now let's take a look at the cue ball's vector. The cue ball travels 0.8 meters in 1 second, so its velocity is 0.8 meters per second, 37 degrees east of north. The mass is still 1 gram, so we get a momentum of 0.8 gram meters per second, 37 degrees east of north. In order to see if the combined momenta of the balls equals the cue ball's original momentum, we need to add these two vectors together. Now, this is where the real stuff of adding vectors happens.
They're sitting on the table.
Check it out. To add vectors, you first draw a parallelogram from the points of the vectors like this. Because we know the balls depart at a 90-degree angle, we know this is a right angle here, so we have a rectangle. Now, we draw in what's called the resultant vector. That's a line that goes diagonally from the point of the original collision to the opposite corner of the parallelogram. Because we've drawn our vectors to scale, we can compare our resultant vector with the cue ball's original vector and see that momentum has been conserved. But we can also prove it with geometry. Because we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Look, we have two right triangles where the resultant is the hypotenuse. And we know that in a right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So let's use the cue ball triangle to solve for c, the resultant. We know a is 0.8 gram meters per second, and b is 0.6 gram meters per second, because we drew it parallel and equal to the 5 balls vector. So we plug our numbers into the equation, and look, we get 1 gram meter per second, the same momentum the cue ball had before the collision. Momentum is conserved in size and direction. Pretty cool, right?
Right, and here's something else. Kinetic energy is conserved too. It's the same before and after the collision.
And the equation for kinetic energy is?
Ke equals 1/2 mass times velocity squared. And Ke isn't a vector quantity, it's a scalar number.
Right, so we can just add the energies. No direction, no vectors.
Right.
Who'd have thought we learned so much about physics shooting pool? Okay, guys, so what did we learn?
That billiards is all about momentum.
And that momentum has both magnitude and direction, so it's a vector quantity. To solve vector problems, we draw scale arrows, vectors.
The equation for momentum is P equals mass times velocity.
We use vectors and geometry to prove that in a collision, momentum is conserved.
Not bad for a day in the pool hall. Well, that's it. We'd like to thank Allison Fisher, Mitch Lawrence, Amsterdam Billiards, and our students, Patrick, Deanna, Jessica, and Michael, for helping us out here today on ESPN SportsFigures, Shooting Vectors. See what a little physics can do?